Good afternoon, class. Today we're going to be building a trapdoor for our Willy Wonka show. You know, the one that Veruca falls into? That's this episode of Mr. Jamie on campus. All right, no, I'm not about to have dinner at the diner in the booth. This is the bed that we've already made for our Willy Wonka show. And we got the idea from a show that was on YouTube already. But instead of 4 people laying in bed, there'll be 4 people sitting, and then the quilts will cover them, and it'll look like they're laying in bed. These are 2 separate pieces on wheels so that they can be stored easily, and it should work out really well. The 2 different headboards, just to give it a little contrast. Simplicity is the key. We're going to paint them so that they look old. This one's got this scalloped look, but we're going to antique it like it was a hand-me-down from somebody. They probably got this out of the trash and made it their own. So, but that's not what we're working on today. We're going to work on a trapdoor, and I've got a diagram to show you. But the idea is that when Veruca stands up at the end of her song, she stands up into the nut scale. It's actually in the musical. It is not a golden goose that she wants. She wants these giant chocolate-filled nuts, and so she gets up on this scale, and she stands up at the end of the song, and the trapdoor opens, and she falls, and it says "bad nut," and that's how we're going to use this prop that we're building. So it needs to be strong. It needs to have doors that open, kind of like a dunking booth, and it needs to be safe. I plan to do it using this design. It's all 2x4 construction with the exception of about a half a sheet of plywood for the doors on the top, and then we'll skin it in some salvaged, I guess it's maybe 3/16 or 1/4 inch plywood that we got when we just did some demo in the cafeteria, and there was some plywood on the walls that we'll use for that. So we're just going to skin it to make it look good. And then we're just going to worry about the functionality of the trapdoor today. We'll also build the scale part that says good and bad and has the ability to be controlled from behind. But we're not worried about that right now. Just want to do the trapdoor. So here's the diagram. As you can see, what it's going to look like, the basic, or in general terms, what it's going to look like. And then over here, you'll see what the trapdoor mechanism is. And it's essentially a big 2x4 frame that it's like a box, but then on the back, the trapdoors are held up by a single 2x4 that is splitting the seam of the 2 doors. Right where the 2 doors come together, there'll be a 2x4 holding them up, and then a caster wheel is supporting that 2x4. So when we pull that caster wheel out from under it, it'll fall. That's the goal. And so I'm going to build the frame first, and then the handle that pulls, and we'll see if it works. All of the wood is cut. I have to do the rabbets though. Rabbets and notches before I am ready to assemble. Here's how the mechanism will work. We'll have these two will be mounted across from each other. The handle will swing this way that opens the doors. This is the trigger, and it will sit down right in here and travel like this. When you pull it back, the wheel is behind the swing arm. So the swing arm is here, resting on the, when you push it forward, the swing arm is resting on the wheel. When you pull it back, it goes. Now, got a couple of things that make this work. One is these two pieces are going to hold the mechanism apart. This piece keeps it from going anywhere. And so the wheel is out, you pull it back in, the wheel's hidden, and the swing arm goes down, and the trapdoor opens. So you'll have to manually set it up, but then just boop, and there it goes. I'd like to show you some incremental progress here after assembly. We've got the box pretty much put together. I have it without the doors on top. I have it set. It's ready to spring. And here's basically the operation. The doors will be closed. This support in the center holds the doors. Let me see if autofocus works better. This post in the center holds the doors. This is our handle, the control handle, and when I pull it, then it trips and the doors will open. Now, one thing of concern, you'll notice when Katie, which is or Hayden, I've got two girls playing Veruca, when they fall through here, they're going to fall facing that direction. And that bounce worries me. If they're falling, I just don't want this to kick back up and hurt them. The thought of being the reason why either one of those girls are hurt, it upsets me even thinking about it. So, needed to develop something to combat that potential. Now, it doesn't swing much, but there's going to be a lot of force of pushing against it, so it might rebound pretty far. This is what I'm calling the Katie Keeper, since Katie is the one we're protecting, or maybe the Hayden Handler, since Hayden's one of the ones. This guy is just a bolt that will jump in there and stop that thing from moving. So, but right now it doesn't jump anywhere because there's no tension on it. So what I thought I would do, since this is where it's got to go to cause the stop, and then they'll reset it each time, I need a piece of rubber to wrap around here that will, whenever I pull it back, it will be stretched, always pushing, and then as soon as the thing drops and there's room for it to go, it quickly goes in. The handle is the stop. And those lines represent this part right here. So, let's see it in action. I'm going to put the Katie Keeper, or the Hayden handler, in place. So if I'll put pressure here, and then as soon as I pull it, it locks. Now it's not screwed down. When it's screwed down, it will be a whole lot firmer. But you see now, it's impossible for it to come up when this is all screwed down. So now for the rubber, I looked and looked for something to choose for the rubber, and here's what I've come up with. It's a inner tube, $15 at Home Depot, which is too much money. I'm going to cut it. I'll try 1 ply, I may do 2 plies, whatever it takes to get it to really bounce back. It's got flex in it, but you know, it's really strong. I want it to be very hard to reset, so not just any kid can reset this thing. All right. Okay, outdoor test before I put the doors on. I'm going to reset it here before I put the doors on. So I have to pull it back, lift it up, lock it in place. Now it's going to be slow because of the friction on the bolt, but the person's weight pushing down will make it faster. So if we pull really hard, and then it locks. There's no way this is going to come up and hit Katie or Hayden. Here's our first test. Box of rocks. All right, here we go. And didn't go anywhere. First human trial. Where's the tree? Back there. Hold on. Ooh, this is scary. Grab the handle, but don't pull it. When I say go, I want you to pull as hard as you can. Like that. Okay, ready? Let me see what this feels like. Okay, that's terrible. Gonna pull it harder. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Pull. Oh! Woo! It works and it didn't hurt. I'm going to show you some of the things that we built for the show, and then I'll show you the end result of the nut scale that we've been working on in this episode. First, this is our pink candy boat. It's just made out of wood, and the W just turns along with it. You can see that it's simply a frame on wheels. And the students get behind it. I'll show, here is a video of what it looked like on stage with our students behind it. The candy cart here is just a simple box frame with wooden wheels that I used a router to create, and then the candy lays in the top of it. All right, this is Mike TV's television that he shrinks and reappears in. It's just a box with a black curtain behind. It's kind of like a puppet theater. And so when he shrinks, a student will just hold him like this, and as they talk, they move him around, and then Willy Wonka comes and picks him up and drops him in her purse. It's just a little Pinocchio doll, something that we had, worked out really well. This is the end result of the nut scale. A student can operate it from the back, bad, good, and then of course you've seen the drop, right? If we turn it around, you'll see how it operates. It's multiple layers, and then they just have an arrow that they can turn. It's written on here good and bad, and this is dead center. And then you see the handle for the drop. Really proud of this. It worked so well. Here's what it looked like when she fell through in the show. That's all we've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I really have enjoyed this project. I hope you have too. If you like the episode, will you give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel? If you want to ask me a question or make a comment, then send it to jamie@mrjamie.com. I'd appreciate that. I respond to every email that I get. And the best questions I read and answer on the show. So anyway, until we meet again on Mr. Jamie on campus.